I was actually in extreme pain. I went ice skating with my daughter, and I hadn't ice skated for 2 years. So of course, you use different muscles. So here I am ice skating with her. She's having a grand time. The next morning I woke up, my back goes out. I was like in extreme pain, but being stubborn as I was, I drove into my office to work, but trying to get out of my car, I collapsed. I was in so much pain, so I had to cancel my whole entire day, which started the self-care. I'm Dr. Chad Sato, and this is my spirited story. So in my case, it was an extreme pain situation that forced me to then ask myself, okay, Chad, you're in extreme pain. What are you gonna do? I had to surrender and take care of myself and honor myself. And at that time, I was at a crossroads about really stepping into that space of knowing my truth. So my core value is really about self-care, taking care of yourself. It's not being selfish, but it's really honoring who you are, knowing your truth, and living your life in that vein.
I think it was with you that made me take the step further forward into fully retiring.
It's a difficult process, right? And I think we all go through that experience to let go of something that, to move into a new space. And I think that's sometimes why it's hard for a lot of people to take care of themselves, because it's like, who am I to make this choice if I disappoint someone else? If I take care of myself first?
Yeah.
Self-care to me is being able to breathe in your life, to feel your life, to know what's true, and to honor every element of who you are. The most common thinking of chiropractors is the crack. Crack the neck, crack the back, that's what chiropractors do. When in actuality, a chiropractor helps people to tap into their own inner healing, inner wisdom. Whenever we feel restricted, it's almost like our body trying to tell us, you can't breathe in your life. It could be tension in your neck. If you ignore those tension patterns, all of a sudden you start getting pains in different parts of your body. So your body's giving you constant feedback to say, hey, are you in alignment with your life, or are you doing what you truly want to do? I had a patient, she would commute an hour and a half to get to the clinic 3 times a week to see me. Pretty disabled, where even brushing her teeth, breathing was painful. So I worked on her, and through those 8 weeks, she started swimming in her backyard, she changed her diet, she lost 20 pounds, she started feeling more alive, and it was very exciting. That was a Friday. On Monday, I get a call, it's this lady, and she goes, you know, sorry, Dr. Chad, but when I was driving over, all of a sudden, everything started spinning. She had a vertigo attack. So we just rescheduled for Wednesday. Hence, Wednesday comes around, 5 minutes before appointment, Dr. Chad Sato, you have a phone call. It's her, and she goes, once again, I had some vertigo spells, so I went to this chiropractor slash acupuncturist slash nutritionist, and he told me I have a fungus in my spine. Thank you for all the help you did for me. Goodbye, click. That's where I got that aha moment, that all her pains, her symptoms, her diabetes, her inability to do stuff was actually her best friend. And the moment I took that away, she no longer had her best friend. And that's where I shifted my focus, where instead of me trying to give the person illusion I'm fixing them, is to teach them how to take care of themselves. But ultimately, until they choose to take responsibility of themselves and take care of themselves, then the symptom will eventually come back again because you didn't address the underlying reason, underlying cause. The one biggest thing about life that I've learned is that if you cannot love yourself, how can you love anyone else? So if you can't take care of yourself, then how in the world can you take care of others? My mentor, way back when I first started, asked me a simple question: how long do you want to work? I said, for as long as possible. As long as I can get up, I can work on people, I will keep on doing what I'm doing. Well, if you want that, you have to take care of yourself. You can't work 5 days a week and expect to be working for the next 40, 50, 60 years if time is what you want, longevity. So that's where I realized that because I do deal with people, deal with energy, deal with people's emotions, sometimes will come up, that I need spaces in between. I think that's our journey, work-life balance. I've worked on numerous individuals. I think I'm at maybe 9,000 individuals at this point in the last 24 years. And I will say there's some people who only focus on work, but I've learned to really balance that out because otherwise I won't be of service to anyone else. So a lot of people may work their whole entire lives to make money to make a nest egg for themselves. But if they don't invest in taking care of themselves in the long term, by the time they become 60 or 70, all that money they made goes towards paying for their health. It's fascinating. When you take care of yourself, you exercise, you meditate, you find time for yourself as well as with your family, and you do things that brings you joy, that uplifts your spirit, that inspires you to live each moment of your life. I jokingly talk about myself as a recovering people pleaser. So I had to learn how to say no. My daughter, my son, amazing. They could just say no. Do you want to do this? No. Right? It's amazing how as we get older, we start to compromise that. We say yes when we really mean no, and what happens when our bodies, when we say yes and we mean no, we get that feeling in that pit of my stomach. Every time I say that, it's like, ugh, that uncomfortable feeling. It's like our body's saying, you want to say no, don't say yes. You become aware and you start questioning. Why did I start getting the shoulder pain? It could have been, oh yeah, I reached for something or I lifted something too heavy. But at the core of it, honestly, it's usually because there's something going on in your life that you're feeling either a heaviness or a weight that's causing that pain.
At one stage, while doing consulting work
Yes.
and also writing about wines, I'd be flown to different wine countries to visit wineries and cover them. And then when I got back, I had to write the story. And then meanwhile, I had to teach and this and that. I started getting sick, getting ill because I was pushing myself too much. And then I realized, after a long trip, I need time to decompress, rest, maybe a week, get over jet lag, and then start again. And I found that really worked because then I would avoid getting sick, getting the flu, getting fever and illness. And
So you
stuff like
learned?
that. I learned from experience. After doing it a few times, I realized, your body actually needs rest.
A lot of times we will put up with something until we get to the point of saying, it doesn't work for me and I need to make a change. Or we get sick, or we have a disabling pain that you need someone to assist or help you, or even the extreme form, cancer. It's truly your body's last-ditch effort to make you love yourself and take care of yourself. Also recognizing and taking care of yourself is knowing when to ask others for support versus you doing it all by yourself, right? When to incorporate a balanced schedule in your life, right? Sometimes we might have some major life changes, but during that life change, if we stay in that for too long and don't take the time to step back and say, oh, I need to move, I need to breathe. So I think one of the most important parts that helps us to pivot is actually meditating. But the most amazing part of meditation is it doesn't have to be a 30-minute sit, an hour sit. In my case, it can be anywhere between 5 minutes up to like an hour. All depends. I sit, take some deep breaths in, I start focusing on just feeling my breath, feeling what my body's doing. And then once I get a sense of calmness and clarity, I'm ready for my day. Conscious mindfulness, and whatever brings you there, right? It can be for someone working out in the morning, someone taking a nice brisk walk in the morning or in the afternoon, someone who loves to do yoga, someone who does hiking, swimming in the ocean, surfing. Everyone has to find that groove, find what uplifts them, and that becomes self-care. So anytime we don't take care of ourselves, let's say we push ourselves a little harder, we doing a job we don't like, we are in conflict with our family, we are not happy with our personal life, challenges with our children, at a certain point, when our energy gets too low, then that's when the bacteria virus takes over, we catch a cold. So if you want to maintain a high degree of efficiency or proficiency, you need to keep that energy high. So it's all about energy. So think about it. If you take time to exercise, take time to move, take time to breathe, take time to meditate, observe what you put into your body that makes you feel good, empowers you, feels energized, versus, let's say, taking a quick soda and then 2 hours later having that crash, right? Is how do you find a way to balance and build your energy to the degree that your energy can stay high and you can be vibrant, you can be very productive and be efficient in what you do. And in doing so, you inspire other people to do the same. Challenges gives us the opportunity to either choose to thrive or to dive. If we don't have a challenge, how can we grow? It's like anytime we experience a health challenge, it can be a disabling disease, it could have been a major car accident or a major physical body injury. it forces a person to reassess how do they want to navigate their life. All of us have fears, certain fears. And so most leaders, they know about the fear, but they don't let the fear control them. Sometimes they use the fear to push them, to elevate what they're doing. And ultimately what fear truly is when you're afraid of some future event that causes you more pain or suffering. When you start feeling that fear, it's hard to breathe, you take that time to connect and how does my breath feel? Is it restrictive? Is it full? And stay with your breath, and within 7 breaths, I bet you that fear, that emotion dramatically drops. Then the brain kicks in. What can I do about this situation? What do I really want to do? And I think the power of the millennials is that they will not work or do something if it doesn't inspire them. Inspiration doesn't come with challenges. That's something that I think people gotta be motivated. But motivation can only last for so long. When you're inspired, even when things go tough, you keep on pushing. I think a blend between the baby boomers who will work hard no matter what, even at a job that they don't like. They'll still work at it because they have obligations, they have financial responsibilities, they have a family, they have to provide. So they will stick at a job for 20, 30, 40 years not liking that job. So I think the transition that we're moving into this new millennia or this new time is really about what inspires you, what uplifts you. Because when you feel uplifted, then you wake up every morning going to a vocation versus a job. Give yourself the opportunity to be more of who you are. And by being more of who you are, we become authentic human beings that will serve this planet, the community, and all the people that we care about in our life. Right now I'm in the midst of my own reorganizing of what's my truth. And so for almost a month, my back was going in and out. A chiropractor who has a bad back, ta-dum-dum, right? It's like a joke that I've learned to embrace because it shows that I'm human. And I think that's what I attempt to do is being authentic in that regard. Because a lot of times being a leader, you have to be strong, you have to be very powerful, but in many ways, sometimes when a leader shows their compassion, their empathy, it allows the people that they lead to say, wow, he's just like us.
Most often when you go see someone for help, they only want to talk about you, but they keep themselves apart from it. They stand outside and they tell you what's wrong with you, but they don't share their own experience. And by sharing your own experience, it becomes very authentic. And then we say, oh, Chad also has this kind of experience, so I'm not alone in this. And he's going to help me because he's had that experience.
What I strive for is really helping people to take ownership and for me to be truly authentic. Because for me to say, I never have back pains, or I don't do this, I don't do that, I like to share my experiences because I know that I fall off the wagon at times, and I have no problem saying, this is what happened to me. And it's always nice to have a group that supports not only me, but also supports everyone else in the group.
Oh, yes, yes.
And so that part has been a gift. And there's moments where I fall off the wagon, but if we didn't make that mistake, then we couldn't then self-correct. So that's where the power of choice comes in. I make a choice. I choose to take care of myself. I choose this rhythm.
I think being truthful to yourself means that you do only those things that matter to you, and those that don't matter so much, you have to just put it aside or leave it for another time. You might come back to it because things might change. Or
it's so true, right? Self-truth, it's very powerful in our choices that we make.
Oh, yes.
I have to take a look at which patterns no longer works for me, which stories that I thought was true no longer is my truth now. And so part of it is being brutally honest with myself. Is this my truth, or was this my former me? Because a lot of times we get challenged about what to do next. And a lot of times we have these uncomfortable situations. Can be personal, can be vocational, can be residential, can be in many different forms that pushes us, that's so uncomfortable, to finally make a change. Going back to self-care. So I had mentioned that I work 3.5 days a week. But when I first started my practice, I worked Monday, Wednesday, half-day Thursdays, Fridays, and half-day Saturdays. I also worked on Sundays to help my dad do side jobs. Tuesdays was my day where I would be with my daughter from the time she woke up to the time she went to bed. After around 3-4 years of that, I got to a point where I didn't need to have that same schedule, but I still kept it. But what happened, which was very fortuitous, it was on Thursday mornings, I would wake up at 5 in the morning, go play tennis with my auntie, and she would beat me every single time, scrub me 6 love, 6 love. And finally, the one moment when I started getting better, it was 6-4. I'm like, okay, let's keep on going, and beat her again, 6-4. I'm like, okay, let's go again. And when I should have listened to my body, I didn't. So my auntie made a slice shot. So I ran for the ball, trying to get it. I sprayed my left ankle, rolled on it. I heard this. I got into my car with my auntie, went back to my house, and then at that point, then my ankle then swelled up. I was there in the bed thinking, okay, what do you tell your members that you're not doing? I realized that I was not doing what I was telling my people. So I was being inauthentic. I was telling people to take care of yourselves, listen to your rhythms, don't push yourself beyond what's important for you. I had an ankle brace for like the first 9 months because guess what? Anytime I'd push myself more, my ankle would swell up and be painful. And what I also did was I made changes. I stopped working with my dad on Sundays. I closed down Thursdays, and that's when I was fully authentic, worked Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, half day Saturdays. It was a painful story, but now my ankle, if I'm doing something that's starting to overextend, it will let me know. Part of self-care is to experience, to venture, because sometimes something like a new modality, could be acupuncture, could be massage, that they all have their place in this world. It's whether or not it resonates with you or not.
I've tried lots of different modalities. Nia, it's a dance. I've tried Feldenkrais. I still practice it, and then I come and see you, Chad. And I think I feel more healthy now and fitter than I was 10 years ago, and even so more fit than I was 20 years ago. And I think it comes down to the state of mind and what you want to do about your own body. I mean, granted, genes will give you a certain lifespan, but
yes.
You still have to look after yourself.
That is so true, right? And I think that's the biggest question about when do you pay attention to what ails you, what doesn't ail you.
That's right. Valuing myself is very important. Because if I don't value myself, I can't enjoy, and I can't value my friends, right? I can't do anything with my wife or my loved ones, my family. Got to look after myself first, and then I can give love.
It's amazing how we've been conditioned, especially our Asian culture, right? That we will take care of others before ourselves, but...
Yeah, to our detriment.
And so sometimes we may seem like rebels in our own culture.
Oh yeah.
Right, take care of yourself first. By doing so, you can give more.
They say when you're in a plane, right? The plane's about to go down and the air oxygen mask come down. You don't take care of the kid first next to you. You have to take care of yourself first so you can look after the kid.
So well put, right? We don't realize it that things that we do normally in our lives, it just highlights exactly what is a proper way to approach our life.
Oh yeah, and this new approach, I love it. I love it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you take care of yourself, you know what's true for you. And that's sort of what I've been moving towards the last 10, 15 years is, what is my truth? What resonates with me? I know what I love to do, and that's my vocation. But honestly, it's like, what is my truth? And the more I listen to my truth, it's almost impossible not to take care of yourself.